His Excellency Ambassador Andrew, Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Mary Kimulu, former permanent delegate of Kenya to UNESCO, Mr. Tracy Roosevelt, representing the Ralph Ogun Consortium. We had invited Professor Juma Shabani, former director of UNESCO and president of the Burundian Academy of Science and Technology, but I gathered he missed his of the African continent. It is indeed of interest to note that when the information first hit the news wave that President Olusegun Obasanjo was planning to establish a presidential library, there was so much misunderstanding as to what exactly is a presidential library. Most people assumed it would be a more gorgeous version of a university library. Some friends of mine, in fact, sent me copies of their publications to help adorn the shelves of the library. Even those who knew better saw a presidential library as no more than the repository of valuable documents and papers accumulated in the course of a president serving his or her country, which can then be bequeathed or donated to a university library of choice. There is, of course, no gainsaying the fact that the idea of presidential library is a vintage of the United States. Here too, it took some time before the national importance and value of such libraries were appreciated. Indeed, it was not until 1934 that the National Archives and Record Administration, otherwise known as NARA, was established with a national archivist saddled with the responsibility of preserving for posterity all documents and reports and papers that came to the White House and would or could have influenced decision-making or the evolution and development of policy. And it was not until after the Second World War that in 1955, the United States Congress passed the Presidential Libraries Act, which encouraged every president to establish a private foundation which can help raise funds to elect a library which will then be maintained over time by the federal government. In this way, not only would documents and papers which the president accumulated whilst in office be preserved but also through his personal memorabilia, a window for the public and especially the younger generation would have been opened to appreciate the background and the personality development as the president rose to become the leader of the nation. The phrase "over time" emphasizes the fragile and vulnerable nature of most of the materials housed in a presidential library and the importance of having government provide a sustainable platform for looking after these materials and artifacts and keeping them well preserved for generations. For most African countries, most of whose histories are poorly documented, establishing such institutions becomes a challenge. For instance, there is nowhere we can easily find the determining background documentation of the impact and direction of the unity and development of Nigeria during 30 years of military rule, except for the odd official documents, edicts, and decrees. What came as advisory papers to Dodan Barracks or Aso Villa have disappeared into personal collections with uncertain qualities of preservation, bearing in mind that sunlight is the greatest enemy of all written documents.